You may be feeling a little bit discouraged about the future, how things are going financially, politically, but listen, don't go anywhere because my next author has such a positive message for finding ways around some of those roadblocks right now. He's written a book called Placing Australians on a Fast Elevator to the Future. His name is Eric Gribble. Eric, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah,
I
thanks for
love
having me. Yeah.
love the positive attitude that you have. Let's just talk about what the overall meaning of your book is. What's it about?
It's about looking for a better way of doing things, inspiring people with hope that that really we've been relying too much on government. Government has become too big a factor in our lives, and that really there are good solutions for everything. See, at the moment we're very despondent about the future.
Well, Eric, what inspired you to write the book?
Well, I lived in a small pulp and paper town most of my life, and I could see the steady social decline and economic decline all around me. This was in New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
and I put it down to for the fact that people didn't seem to have an understanding of how the basic free enterprise system worked, and there seemed to be a steady loss in values due to a breakdown in the family, and people just completely were completely losing any
Losing
insight
hope.
into what was going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Eric, let's talk a little bit more about the social breakdown and how it's changed over the years.
Well, there's been a breakdown in the family unit. One time people used to live in family units where elderly parents quite often were looked after by the family unit and lived in that unit. And they had a lifetime of experience which they could pass on to the younger generation
Mm-hmm.
on basic life skills. But now today, young adults will leave the family home
Mm-hmm.
and are left to their own devices.
Uh-huh.
So,
They're not
what
getting
we've got
that
is,
wisdom from the seniors
yeah,
that's
not getting
so
that wisdom.
important. Yeah.
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 So there's a lack of mentoring in our society, and that's one of the issues leading to the social breakdown. I propose one potential solution in the book to that, which is mentoring for younger people, because you have an entire elderly unit that have been elderly population that have been excluded from life. They go into retirement and they live by themselves, and that lifetime experience is no longer valued. They're just
Yeah.
left isolated by themselves.
All that wisdom dies with them, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do describe a potential solution in the book.
You've got some great ideas when it comes to finding solutions to a lot of the problems that we're facing that have people afraid of the future. Let's talk about some of the factors that lead to innovation. Why do some people innovate? What's behind that? What appears to be the factors of that?
Well, there's the usual stuff that you get in economics textbooks, which is a free society, access to venture capital, and all that sort of stuff. But some of it is a bit indeterminate as well, because you'll find that people in the sciences tend to be more innovative because they are taught analytical thinking, whereas people in lawyers and accountants tend to learn parrot fashion,
Okay.
and they tend to just follow the rule book rather than thinking about whether or not the entire rule book should be chucked out.
Sure. Yeah, they're
So,
not so open to making their own rules or figuring things out. Yeah.
yes, so there hasn't been a lot of innovation in our government institutions.
Hmm.
And also, another thing is people's background. For example, in the West, we have population areas where people have been living on welfare for a long time, and these impoverished areas.
Yeah.
But then with immigration, we brought in refugees from certain parts of the world, like Southeast Asia, And these people have come over with nothing because they're refugees and settled in some of these areas. And areas where there was no hope, they've actually started up small cottage businesses, anything from furniture making, shoe repairs, anything like that, because they came from an area where there's no welfare and they had
They
a
learned,
different mindset.
right, how to work. So
Yeah,
they're bringing some light and hope to the economy, and maybe a little bit of inspiration. Maybe other people, maybe
yeah,
natives, are actually watching these immigrants and going, "Wait a minute, I can do something
yeah,
like that."
yeah. That's right. Yeah. So
Uh,
it's a way of thinking too. It's not just having the right environment. It's a way of thinking. I think it's a lot more to it. It's a lot more
So
complex.
you talk about restructuring as a total package rather than just individual policies. And again, your beef and your dilemma seems to be with big government. So
Yeah.
when you're talking about introducing this as a total package, what would that look like?
Well, when I was talking about total package, I was talking about the fact that individual policies, like for example, bringing in a goods and services tax. Now that by itself, because government's never like removing any taxation, if it's just brought in as an extra tax, all it's doing is increasing complexity. But if it's brought in as a replacement tax, then what you're doing is actually simplifying things because, but it would be impossible to get rid of income tax unless other things are brought in as well.
Right.
Like for example, well, one thing I mentioned in my book was the idea of compulsory medical insurance for everyone, subsidised for low-income people, and that way that gives people the ability to choose what health system, what hospitals, and what health package they want.
Right.
But by charging high-income people, that is a source of revenue for government, which helps get rid of income tax, which would help the introduction of GST as a replacement tax. So that's what I'm saying. It's not simple. Everything has to be sort of brought in as a total package.
Right. Right. Right.
There's,
And it's not going to happen overnight. You've got to have people
yeah.
buying into this. Eric, as we wrap up this interview, what is it that you want people to do or think after they read your book?
Well, I just want people to recognise that there's a better way of doing things. That government is not the solution, and we have to actually. Well, there's not much a lot people can do except embrace a concept and lobby government. It's a gradual process of changing the way people actually think. Because at the moment, our school system doesn't even teach people how the free enterprise system actually works. People don't even have a basic understanding of it.
You're right.
And
You're absolutely the same way in America. It's true.
yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
Eric, I just want to thank you so much. Eric is with the publishing company Book Trail Agency, and we thank you for being part of this. Eric, besides Book Trail Agency, how can people get a hold of you, and if they've got questions or they want to get a hold of your book?
Well, my book is available on most online sites like Amazon.
Okay.
And for me personally, well, there's a website which will be available soon,
Okay.
which is being set up by Book Trail Agency. So I think it'll just be under placing Australians on a fast elevator to the future.
Just look under
But
the book, right?
yeah, yeah.
That sounds great. Eric, it's been a joy talking to you. Thank you for being willing to look at those hard answers, not just die within the questions, but be able to be solutions oriented. I think that's really exciting, and it's a great book. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, thank you.
You.